One of the most common questions we get at Ask Academic Skills is, how do I write academically? What does that mean? Well, there are a lot of things that distinguish academic writing from other types of writing, but personally I think the number one thing that does this is authority. When you're writing as an academic, you're constantly striving to prove your authority for what you're talking about and to establish that what you're saying is valid and correct. Mostly the way we do this when we're academically working is through referencing, right? Through showing that we're in dialogue with a lot of different other academics who have published work elsewhere, and we're using that to support our own points, and also showing that we're aware of those other points. Now, the people that you are citing when you're referencing, they have become academically authoritative through a process called peer review, right? And what that means is that in order to be published as an academic, your work has to be vetted by other people who are specialists in the same field. So you only get into an academic journal if other people who know what they're talking about have said, yes, this is worthwhile and should be published. So by citing those people, you are joining that dialogue. And that's how we create academic validation. You're also constantly participating in a lot of different contexts as an academic, so you're contextualizing your own work in relation to what other people have said, in relation to different fields. So you're always making connections between what you're thinking about and what others are thinking about, and that too is part of the authority and the validation of academic writing. Now, all of this is kind of very much about, like I said, authority, but there's also the fact that there's an academic tone and an academic style. And this is, a slightly heightened tone. It refers to the fact that there's more formality in academic writing. It refers to the idea that you make your arguments objectively instead of subjectively, meaning you use logic and reason to make your arguments as opposed to emotion or emotive language. You avoid slang and colloquialisms, avoiding contractions even in the way you write. Those are all ways that you create an academic tone in your writing. There's also the notion of structure. Academic writing is carefully structured so that it should be very easy to follow an argument from paragraph to paragraph and even sentence to sentence. Structure refers to the fact that academic writing is concise, it's very clear. It refers to the fact that you don't need to write overblown, wordy sentences to write academically. That's a big misconception people tend to have about academic writing. So structure is again, really important. And finally, I've already mentioned it a little bit, but this notion of dialogue. When you're writing academically, think of yourself as entering a gigantic academic conversation. You are joining the ranks of people who have published on your topic, and you are conversing with them in print, so to speak. So in short, academic writing, it's clear, it's structured, it's concise, it's not wordy, it's not full of jargon and overblown, but it is also sophisticated and it should be interesting. Good academic writing does not need to be dull. The way you keep it from being dull is you vary your sentence structure, you vary how you incorporate your references, you vary the verbs you use. Your verbs are a good point where you get to be a little more choosy and variable with your language. So remember that it doesn't have to be boring. It's also balanced, right? Again, using logic and rhetoric to persuade as opposed to emotion or emotive language. It's meticulously referenced always, and it's always part of a larger conversation. So if you're interested in further writing resources, we have a variety of options. You can visit our Blackboard Learn section. You can also come to one of our workshops or come see us individually in a drop-in or for an appointment. Check our website for details on times, and you can always email us at ask@brunel.ac.uk.